and welcome back to My Comic Life, where I have a brand new series called Comic Spotlight, where I'm going to spotlight a single writer in his run on a certain character. And tonight I'm going to be looking at Mark Waid's on his run with Doctor Strange. And I don't know why I started with Doctor Strange, but most likely it was because I heard Sleepy Reader talking about it. And I was intrigued to see what this writer's going to do with this character. And then you see the cover and you're like, oh my god, he's going to outer space. It's going to be a space adventure. I wonder how this is going to be. And then the first issue, I get to see the beautiful art of Jesus Saez. Jesus Saez's art, just look at that hand that is holding Doctor Strange. It's just mind-blowing on how beautiful it is. The lightning effects on that thing is just beautiful. The veins in the hands. I was just amazed by this first page. I was just like, wow, okay. Why did I not pick up this series before? If the quality is this high with the art, hopefully the writing is as well. And I would say that with the first issue, Mark Waid's writing is really strong. You definitely tell that they put all their heart into this first issue. Now, we do tread on some stories that have been told with Doctor Strange before, with Doctor Strange losing his magical abilities and him going out and finding himself and getting back his magical powers and being the Sorcerer Supreme. So we get to see the same old story, but Jesus Saez's art saves this book so much. Like, his art is just so breathtakingly beautiful. And I was happy to see that throughout these first 5 issues of the first volume, he was the same, or he was the only artist that was on the first 5 issues. Because a lot of times in comics, especially in the big 2, they're pushing out so many books twice a month that a lot of times the artist has to change up to keep up with that pace. So we see Doctor Strange battling this god, this old god, and you see him at his supreme of being the Sorcerer Supreme. And so he sews up the fabric of that demon trying to get in, and he saves humanity, even though humanity doesn't see what he has just done. And you see a Doctor Strange that is at the top of his game. And then we go to 7 years later, where he wakes up one day and in his right eye he has lost the sight of magic. And then eventually later on in that day he loses all sight to magic. He doesn't see it anymore. He goes to his text and he just cannot see anything. And he even goes to the relics, the things that have the magical powers, and he doesn't feel the magic. Even his cloak won't work. And so he's just losing himself, and he feels like he is not the same person, like he's just lost all connection to magic altogether. And of course, that's like a story that we've seen time and again with Doctor Strange. And I was like, how is Mark Waid going to do something different with this type of story? And this page right here is just so beautiful. Just the panel layouts in this first issue is so strong. And I just love that, where you get the close-up of Strange, and then it starts slowly, the camera starts slowly backing up to the point where he's just a shell of a person, and he just has lost everything. And eventually he goes and meets up with Doctor Strange, or with Tony Stark. And I gotta say, the one thing I just did not care for was the look of Tony Stark in these panels. It looks to me like he's gained a lot of weight. I don't know if that's just a regular story element, but he seems a lot bigger than what I was expecting him to actually look like. But otherwise, he tells Strange, you've gone into all these other dimensions to find yourself before. You never looked out to outer space. So I'm going to give you a rocket ship to go out there, and you could go and find different magical beings and get your mojo back. And so at this very moment, I was like, this kind of feels like a story that Mark Waid wanted to tell with Tony Stark, but he's decided to put it with Doctor Strange. So I was a little bit like, either you're in for this ride or you're not going to be. But because of how good the art is in this first volume of Doctor Strange, I was in it to, I'm just like, all right, if this is the same artist, I need to read this book. By the second issue, Doctor Strange has been captured. He is at the whim of these beings who are going and basically poking and prodding him and torturing him, trying to find out who he is and where he's come from. He's thrown into the cell where he eventually meets this alien creature. And this is the point where I was kind of thrown off with the book just a little bit. It seemed a little bit convenient that this character was also thrown in with Strange. And I was just like, okay, this feels a little bit convenient. It doesn't feel like as strong as the story as I was getting with the first issue. Eventually you find out that, oh my gosh, she's an arcaneologist, where she goes and tries to find all these magical relics. And I was just like, wow, this seems very, very, very convenient and very, very lazy. And you do get that with this book at times. Everything seems very convenient. Now, of course, Tony put a microchip into Strange's body so he can hear different alien dialects and knows what they're saying. But the second issue kind of just focuses more on her and her explaining why she is there and what she did. And it just felt like that the first issue just had so much promise. The second issue it felt like that there's so much convenience, where the moment they break out and she goes to go steal this magical relic, and it just all feels so convenient. But there is this one moment that is just totally badass, where Strange tries to get this magical relic to work, and he couldn't get it to work. He found out that this alien race, who had no intention to go and go outside their solar system, well, the moment that Strange came into play, they were like, there's other beings out there and they can hurt us, so we're going to hurt them before they hurt us. And so Strange uses this relic to cause as you see, this blue mist to go over this shield, so that these alien creatures couldn't go and hurt Earth. And at that very moment, it's kind of like, wow, this Doctor Strange is taking things to a great extreme. And then after this, the book does something that seems also very convenient, where it decides, we're going to have Doctor Strange going on this adventure with our new character, and she's taking him to all these different relics, and he's learning from them and stealing some from some different ancient beings or different alien beings, and he's going and meeting these magicians also, and they're teaching him, and it all feels like a Rocky montage through the next couple issues, where there'll be some plot development, but it seems like the story is not as big or not as thought out as Mark Waid could have done it. It is a good thing when you say, I want more. I feel like I am kind of just getting the bare bones of what the story should have been. We do get some more character development with our new female character. I forget what her name is, but other than that, I really wanted more between those two and to develop those two's character. But through all those little backstories that we were getting, it all just felt very convenient and very much not as strong of writing that I wanted to, but the art continued to be amazing. And eventually they do get onto this scroll planet, and the story, I wish, really could have gone more in this element where they go onto this planet. Oh, damn. Where they go onto this planet that is home to the scrolls, or this certain sector of this certain group of scrolls, and they have created that they don't want houses because they feel like if they need shelter that they can create it themselves. And I really was like, man, this is really some great ideas that are happening here. But it doesn't feel as fleshed out as I was hoping for. Really want to get that page. Why is my loading so slow? But it is what it is. So throughout this first story that Mark Waid is doing, you could definitely tell that he has an idea of what he wants to do, but I don't feel like the execution is as strong as it could be. But of course, as you can tell throughout the first 5 issues, it's all almost being told into this story, or this third-person perspective, where we have our narrator narrating to us about what is being seen and what is being experienced, and it all feels like a third, you're the third party experiencing that Doctor Strange is not experiencing at this very moment. It's somebody else telling the tale. But yeah, I just look at this world of the scrolls, and it feels such like a different type of scrolls than we were expecting. Of course, then the story is sidetracked by a Marvel event, the Infinity Stones, or Infinity War, that was going on at this time. And this moment where an Infinity Stone comes into play, it feels very much just thrown in there, and nothing's really done with it after this issue. Now, I don't know if the story arc with the Infinity Stone goes any further in the traditional or the regular Infinity Stone comic, but for this story at this very moment, they basically just put this Infinity Stone into a drawer and just says, we're going to leave it here and we're going to leave it alone. But of course, Doctor Strange, he does some things that's out of character for him, and it could be looked at as a little bit evil. So with Doctor Strange losing his abilities, he's also doing some things that seems a little bit out of character for him. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to say that the art is what's really sold me with this current run on Doctor Strange. Jesus Saez's art is just breathtaking. The first issue is the strongest out of the whole entire first story arc, and for the first volume of Doctor Strange. And I would have to give Doctor Strange Volume 1 a 6 out of 10. The story, I felt, was the weakest element, but there's some really cool stuff in here, some great artwork, and I do think that this is a book you can go out and purchase in trade paperback and be happy with your purchase. So, if you have read Doctor Strange and what do you guys think about it, let me know down below, and I'm hoping either tomorrow or the next day I am going to be doing a comic spotlight on Tom King's Batman, since the DC Universe app has now put out so many comics out there. I'm also going to look into that one and do my thoughts on the first volume. So Doctor Strange, it's a good book with some excellent art. The writing is just not there. The story's not just there, but it's some good stuff. So if you liked what you've seen here, go rate, comment, subscribe, and hopefully you can be my 224th subscriber. So go subscribe today. My name is David Lee, and I'll see you next time on My Comic Life.